Okay, welcome everybody. It's the first of the year. We're going to start warming up now, and I assume more people will sign on as we go, even though I'm very happy you are all here. If you can put your feet together and bow. Very good. Pick up one foot, go around with your ankle and toes, switch up way. Other foot, other way. Feet together, around with your knees, other way. Feet apart, around with your hips, other way. Use your legs, pump your arms around. Switch. So while we have a little bit of time, I'll explain this as we go. Just in general, it is good to use your legs as much as possible. When you punch, when you move, whatever. So specifically, when you do this, I want you to create a rhythm with your legs that moves your arms. So some people, to make me happy, they move their legs and they move their arms, but it's not the same thing. There should actually be a pump, pump, pump where you can feel it move. And the other way. That's better. Now there's one more part. Some people here in their torso, when they do this, their torso goes whip, 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 which isn't a problem if you know that you're doing it. But most people don't know they're doing that, and then when they punch, they've got the same lack of stability. So see if you can isolate from your head to your tailbone, and it's going to stay nice and straight when your arms go around, and then you switch directions. Cross. Twist, look behind you. Kick up your heels. Try squatting. Put your hands on the floor, straighten your legs. Squat, straighten, squat, straighten, squat, straighten, and squat. Put your feet out behind you, arch. Look up at the ceiling. Breathe in deep through your nose and out through your mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. Inhale. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Now try to feel in your hip area. Exhale. Feel how your hips drop. Your breathing has an effect on the tension in your body. Push your hips back. Touch your chest to the floor. Stretch your neck, your back, your shoulders. Forward again. Pull your feet in. Squatting. Keep it up. Stretching down and forward. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Reach over one shoulder. Switch. Side. Switch. Around with your torso. Switch. Let's turn and face one side. So you can turn to your right if you want to be a mirror for a while. I don't particularly care. Switch. Other way. Switch. Stretching deeper. Follow your foot, drop your hip, reach up, open your arms like you're holding a giant ball, squeeze your shoulder blades together, twist, look over your shoulder, head to the floor by your front foot, and up, other way, resting deep. Follow your foot, drop your hip, Reach up. Open the arms. Twist, look over your shoulder. Head to the floor by your front foot. And turning under, straight leg squat. Switch over the other side. Switch, 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 and switch. Stay on the side. You're going to rotate your hip over like you were just facing this way, and then keep rotating over till the outside edge of your leg goes along the floor. And back, over, back, over, back, over, and back. Switch over to the other side. All the way over, stretch the outside of your thigh. Back, over, back, over, back, over, back, over, and back. Feet in, squatting. Put your hands on the floor, straighten your legs, roll up, round with your hips, switch, side, side, squeeze one knee up into your chest, switch, switch, pull it towards the middle, switch, switch, and switch. Reach around behind, grab an ankle, pick it up as high as you're comfortable, switch, switch, and switch. Shake out your legs, turn, standing in form. All right, so far we have 33 people. I cannot see you all at one time, but I'm glad that you're here. So we are going to train, and we're going to take some questions, and then we're going to train, and we're going to take some questions. Some people wrote in some questions first, so I do want to talk about that just a little bit. Hold on, I got two problems here with people trying to send me information. That says, the guy in India thinks he needs a passcode to get on, but you don't, right? You just click the link and it opened up for everybody, right?
That's correct, Sensei.
Yeah. Well, second, somebody asked about vibration, and I want to discuss this just a second before we go. This is John. John's my roommate and training partner. Hip vibration generally is just the idea that you're going to use your legs to hit the target. If you have a lot of room, rotating is great. Shifting your weight in is great. But at a short distance where there's no, Sensei Nishiyama used to say, action space, you start using more vibration. This is easier from a short distance. So if I create shock with my legs and I only have this far to room, it's easy to coordinate the two where my legs shock the target. Easy to do. Harder to do from a big long punch, because by the time you start your hip, it's on its way back when you hit the target. So your body dynamic timing is not great there. And rather than spend too much time worrying about it, I would try to work the idea that your legs are going to hit the target, hit the target, hit the target, and don't worry too much about the detail of what's going forward or backwards. Literally just see if you can feel your leg, or ideally maybe both legs, hitting the target and your center of mass slightly settling forward. So I guess if there's a flaw to this idea, it would be that you're settling away from the target when you hit, and just a little change to settle forward fixes lots of stuff. So I have come to really appreciate that. Put this up here once. Even in a jab, let's say, a little bit of this going forward is a big deal. That helps the impact a lot. So among all the different body dynamic things that you do, hitting with your mass is a big thing. So there are many training drills on how to do this. We're going to work on now, just punching from Kibadachi. And so this would be your warm-up for a little bit. Out Kibadachi. Everybody put out your left hand. I'm fine with imagining your foot or your hip or your center throws the punch at the target. 1, punch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. High up. Shake out your legs a little bit. Shake out your arms a little bit. It is useful to know that in most techniques there are at least 2 shocks. Sometimes there's more depending on what you're doing. Occasionally there's less. But the 2 shocks I'm talking about are the initiation shock to throw the technique, and then the shock when you hit the target to make sure that you penetrate or deliver the energy. So this is maybe more obvious when you rotate because there's so much time. Shock, hit, there's a time space and a body dynamic space. That same thing exists here in Kibadachi, or for that matter, standing here. And just try to see if you can feel it. So put out your left hand. It's going to be almost 1, 2, 1, 2. There's 2 separate parts. So give it a try. Pay attention to your drawing arm. 1, punch, squeeze, squeeze. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good job. 2 things from the people that I can see. One is you want your weight to stay on the front half of your body when you hit. Don't let the shoulder pull back. You've got half of your body weight going the wrong way. So this shoulder stays here in space. Your drawing arm compresses and your body compresses. And kind of both sides, your drawing side and your punching side, they're drawing together in the same way. So it's not like this one pulls back and this one reaches out. They're more balanced. So that was one thing I saw, is some people let the shoulder go back too far and it's taking their weight away from the target. So leave it forward, please. The second thing was you don't wind up. So it is good to use your legs. It is good to be relaxed as you move, but don't be in one place and then wind up and then go, and then wind up and then go. The wind up is a waste of time. You want to be driving into the target during that time. So if this is squeezing back, squeezing, 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 the release goes forward. There's no release and then go. So see if you can feel that in yourself and don't do that. Let's try Kibadachi. Left hand out. You can wrap this right arm into the floor and then release it. 1, shock. 2, shock. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Better. Check out your legs again. Okay, here comes the drill part. We're going to triple punch, and we're going to change which of the punches has the intent and the focus and the kime to do damage. So some of them are going to be very light, and some of them are going to have a kime, and your drawing arm, your squeezing and your drawing side is what's going to make the difference. So back to kibidachi. Put out your left hand. We're going to do triple punches. 1 head, 2 stomach, just to warm up. 1 head, stomach, stomach. 2 head, stomach, stomach. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, shake your legs out again. Usually I don't do, you don't get to shake your legs out so much, but we're still warming up. So here's the deal. Now you're going to try to only kime on the first punch, and the second 2 are going to be soft. So see if you can feel inside yourself, this first punch has kime, and the next 2 do not. Okay, we're going to try that sequence. Ready? Left arm out. Kime on the first punch. 1, squeeze, soft, soft. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, here, hold on just a second. Everybody stand and keep it out for a second again. I'm going to take a picture of us. No, I think I got me in it. Camera. There we are. Oh, terrible picture. All right, good enough. The idea here on these 3 punches is they all have the same initiation. They all start from your legs or your hip or your center. Bah! But only one of the 3 is going to hit the target. So it might be similar to doing any given combination where you're chasing after a person, but only one hits the guy. The other 2 are just fakes or loosening them up, or they're blocked. So there's no reason to kime and waste energy and time on the techniques that are not connecting with the target. So if you're doing this triple punch and they all kind of feel the same, and that's a very common thing when you start, it's like, okay, I'm going to kime, and they're all 3 tight as heck. Start sloughing more on the 2 that don't kime. Relax more. So the intent of impact on the punch that you do kime on will be more exaggerated. Back to kibidachi. Left arm out. Now you're going to kime on the second punch. This is going to be a different rhythm, so give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. High up again. So the only thing I got to say is I see some of you are maybe struggling with it a little bit. It's a little frustrating. And I got to tell you, it's just that way for everybody when you start. If you try this once or twice a week for a while, by about the 3rd time, it starts to make more sense. You go, oh, I get this. So we will continue with the drill. Next one is you're going to kime only on the 3rd action. So please make sure you slough on the first 2. Back to kibidachi. Left hand out. Head, stomach, stomach. Kime only on the 3rd one. 1. Soft, soft, squeeze. 2. 3. 4. 5. 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey, good job. Stand back up. So when you're first learning, it helps to take a break in between them, kind of like we're doing now. It helps your mind get unflustered. And I see some of you trying, and maybe you're not doing quite the right thing, but it matters that you try. It matters that your intent is to squeeze on that third one. So you're doing a good job. Okay, now we work our way through the series. On 1, you key man the first action. On 2, you key man the second action. On 3, you key man the third action. Follow along. Keep it up. Left hand out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Try that for a second. Did you kind of get that you're cycling through? I will tell you this. This information helps some people a lot and confuses other people. So there is a pattern to the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the pattern is the kime is always with the same hand. So if I'm punching with my right, it is 1, 2, right hand, 3. Those 3 right hands in a row. Then it'll be 3 left hands. 1, 2, 3. So knowing that, see if that helps you, or see if it messes you up. I don't know. Back to Kibadachi. One more set. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hi, good job. So any questions just about that particular drill? Okay, next drill. This is a series that we used to do all the time when I was a lower belt, and for some reason it got lost. And it is, we started on this on the day after Thanksgiving drill, and I meant to do it multiple times, and I forgot. But we're going to do this 3 different times during this training session. So this first one will be very introductory, then we'll do it again for practice, and then we'll do it again for training at the end. By the way, at the end of 2 hours, which is noon our time, if we don't get to your question, I'll stick around and you can talk more or ask more questions. So anyway, here's the drill. Feet together, bow. Put your left leg forward and your counter punch out. Okay, so the concept here is pretty easy, I think. You're going to pull your feet together, block and then counter, then block and then counter. It's going to be very specific about how you do it though. So to start with, I want you to see if you can time your hand and your foot. So you're going to plant your left foot with this block, and then you're going to step out and your foot and hand are going to match on the next one. So to the count, we're going to stop at the block. 1, 2. 1, 2. So the hand that's out is going to block. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. end up in a counter punch with your reverse punch, gyakuzuki, where your hands and feet are opposite, and the hand that's out is always going to block. So some of you are doing great, and some of you will continue to work at it a little bit. Still 2 counts. This time turn your hip. So when my foot hits and my hand hits, your hip is going to be as sideways as it can be, and it is okay to pick your other foot up. So sometimes when people are first learning this drill, they forget what foot is supposed to move. So you can help yourself by planting this foot, picking this one up. The one that's up moves. So on the first count, twist your hip as far as possible. On the second count, twist back. Ready? Got your right hand out. 1, twist, 2, back. 1, twist, 2, back. 1, twist, 2, back. 1, twist, 2, back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Could use a little more hip twist for some of you, but it's okay. The next part, I'm going to tell you 2 things at the same time. I want you to make sure that you maintain forward pressure. So when I pull my foot back, I can't just stand up and then step back out. When I pull my foot back, you're maybe going to lean your head back a little bit so you keep your hips forward. Forward, forward. Like you're constantly wanting to go and you're holding yourself back. So, I said 2 things. The second one is your drawing arm. Pull, pull, all the way down into your back foot. Pull, pull. Still 2 counts. Ready? Counter punch out. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Hey, stand up for just a second. Shake out your legs. In any combination, but right now while you're doing this one, see if you can keep your head and shoulders and torso relatively calm and stable. So if you feel like your shoulders coming up and your head's moving and it's moving back, this is too much movement. Nice and straight. Calm, 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 calm. Just stay there. And it'll get a little easier to concentrate on your legs and lower body. So give it a try. Left leg forward, counter punch out. This will be the last series before we move on. Block counter, 1 count. 1, bump, bump. 2, 3, 4, 5. So they're going to be sets of 5. We'll keep coming back to this. 1, 2. I've got to go a little bit slower. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, good enough. When we come back to this in the middle, there is a part of the transition is letting your foot drop to the floor. So you don't hold back and then try to go. There's just too much tension. When your foot hits the ground, it drops. Drop, drop. Drop, drop. Drop, drop. It relates to another idea of channeling energy through the middle of your bones. And can you use this again? On your chest, kind of. Boom, 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 boom. It hits the target. Boom, 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 boom. So not much work here, but lots of work down here. You want to channel that into the target when you hit things. So it shows up in a lot of places. I just see in some of you, you're trying to hold so much pressure, it's softer in your legs. It drops to the ground, it settles. Okay. Does anybody have a question? And in order to ask the question, you might have to unmute so I can see you. Otherwise, I don't know who it is. Nobody? All right, then we'll just continue training. Hey, move back to your mark. I have to look at my outline to make sure I kind of stay. Wrong page. Okay. Here we go, left leg forward. We're going to keep working this so that you don't really have to move very much. Put your arms up in fighting position, kumite position. You're going to do a front snap kick and step forward. Front snap kick with your back leg. 1, oil snap, down. Kick with your front leg and step backwards. 2, and one more kick with that same leg. 3. Now shuffle back. So wherever you were, your front foot pulls back and steps back. You maintain your center the whole time. It doesn't go up and down. It doesn't go back. You keep this forward energy as you change positions. Kick and step forward. 1. Kick and step back. 2. 3. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Shuffle back. So, I've mentioned this a few times lately to people that come to the regular classes. There are many ways to shift and move. And what you want, though, is to train yourself in useful ways and in ways that are intentional so that you don't create kyo when you move. So right now, this way of moving back is this stays together, this stays forward, and you go bump, bump. If in the middle, oh, I have to block, oh, I have to punt, you would be able to. But some of you are moving a little bit like, okay, move back. And that's not, you're not ready. So pay attention to little things, they add up. There's no hop. That was very good, Dan Young, I just saw you. There is no hop. You are down and forward, down and forward, down and forward. And if it matters to those people, your heels are not actually solid on the ground. They're very, very light, very like a paper distance underneath them. This would be true if I was moving forward or moving back. So I guess to continue that idea, we're going to keep kicking. After you kick, oh, no, I'll point that out later. Couple more of these, just like this. Ready? Left leg in front, arms up. 1, kick and step forward. 2, kick and step back. 3, shuffle back. 1, 2, 3, shuffle back. 1, 2, 3, shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Okay, shuffle back. Stand up for just a second. We are going to practice holding the recoil and making pressure into the floor, but it's going to also address this problem. It's your arms. It's your arms and your knee. So The worst thing in the world is to throw your arms open when you kick. Don't do that. Okay, that's like one of the worst things in the world. A lot of people do it, and to a certain extent, it is a muscle memory because a large part of the world thinks, and this is the way JK did it, okay, front kicks, arms at your side, and you kick this way, right? And then you get a partner, and you kick at them, and you go, oh, and Sensei says, why are you opening your arms? Because you taught him that on the first day, that's why. So I would not teach this to beginners. I would teach this to beginners. And later, as people are working on different things, this might come up, say, 5th cue, 4th cue level, someplace in there where you're trying to maintain your body position. And where this idea comes from, in my opinion, is there are pictures, right there, throw a punch, where the guy caught an arm, and then maybe the other arm, switch your feet, would you? And then they kick, because the guy's stuck. Or kick with his foot and bounce. They got him, whoa, and they kick. So if you're doing something with them, that's fine. But if it's just a matter of opening your arms up to kick, bad idea. So when you move forward, this arm is just going to stay there. Whether you're moving or kicking, you move into it. So this whole forearm, elbow, hand. Let's try that. Arms up, left leg forward. Front snap, kick and move forward. 1. Kick and move back. 2. 3. Shuffle back. Now your right arm is going to stay. 1, 2, 3. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Okay, last thing about your arms for right now. The position is, I want your arms, maybe this elbow and fist point toward the guy's face like you're going to jab. This one maybe points from the body. There are variations, it doesn't really matter. But when you kick, you're going to put your knee in between these to kick. So this space, this opening, gets smaller. Some people, when they kick, that space gets bigger. Don't do that. Compress towards the target. And it helps to do something. So what I want you to think about is that your arms from your center are projecting forward all the time. Not quit, oh, they quit. Forward as you kick, just on the inside a little bit. And then the inside of your arm and the inside of your legs are drawn towards the center. Drawn, they're related to each other. So if you pay attention, your body will start to move as a unit a little bit better. So try this one more time, and then we'll do the next part. Left leg forward. Front snap kick, move forward. Arms up. 1, 2, 3. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Tie up again for a second. That was much better with your arms, everybody. This is going to get a little picky, and we will address it now as we do the holding the recoils. After you kick, you do not want to fall forward. Kick, fall. There's no weight on this leg. You're just falling into whoever's going to hit you. And moving backwards, you also want to be very precise about how you position your leg and foot. So, to me, in both ways, it's like your center reaches to where you want it to go. Some of you are putting your foot back and it just hangs out there, it's not helping you to move forwards or backwards. So your feet, your ankles, your knees are aiming in towards the target all the time. And when you kick, you position them there. And when you kick, you position them there. There's not a fall to it. We're going to do the same series. And each kick now is going to have 2 counts. So you are going to hold the recoil. And we'll just start, and then I'll tell you about why. So put your left leg in front. Front snap kick and hold the recoil. 1. Step forward, 2. Front kick with your front leg. 1, 2. Reach back. 1. Hold. 2. Down. Shuffle back. 1. Hold. 2. Down. 1. Hold. 2. Back. 1. Hold. 2. Down. Shuffle back. Okay. Here's the deal. You want, when you pull your foot back, you want control of yourself all the time. So I already talked about not kicking and falling forward. That would be bad. So the thing you can do to stop that is to make sure that this leg, your support leg, is still controlling your action, and then you have to control the rest of your body. So it helps to keep your knee up, and then you can put it wherever you want. But when you do that, you have to build pressure in your legs. From here to here to here to the floor this way, and then you can go. So you could, sorry, I'm skipping ahead. You're going to go 1, squeeze, and now you can go anywhere you want. But if you just go 1 and hold, this is not the same thing. Now this is just you being a target with 1 foot up in the air. So you want that direction all the time. Just trying to see if you can feel it. We're not going to do the forward back. Well, we are too. That's a good thing to do. See if you can feel it. Left leg in front. Feel the recoil back into the floor. 1, squeeze. 2, control your forward motion. 1, squeeze. 2, your center reaches back. 1, squeeze. 2, gentle forward. Shuffle back. 1, hold. 2. 1, hold. 2. 1, hold. 2. Shuffle back. Sorry, I lost track there. 1, hold, squeeze into the floor. 2, step forward. 1, squeeze. 2, step back. 1, squeeze. 2, glide forward. Shuffle back. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Shuffle back. So even from that little bit of training, because we didn't do that a lot, we did it a half dozen times on each side. All of you got better balance, all of you got better control. Can you kind of feel that? That was good. Does anybody have a question? Again, I will ask. Because last time, okay, Dan Young has a question. We'll ask him first, and then Rob is also jumping in there. Dan first.
Yeah, you spoke about doing the kicks from Judat and freestyle. Would you do the same for the rest of the key on for beginners?
About keeping your arms up?
Yeah, would you do all your basics from there, or would you do more from the get and ride?
So what I try to do is analyze what we do traditionally to see if it helps. So precision training in and of itself helps. So I don't have a problem with people going 1 and then step and punching, or 1 and then kicking. I pick my arms up. I just pick some things that I think, well, this is teaching you a bad habit. So I don't let people do it. And I think I've seen a lot of good results from having people learn to cover as they go in. And it's not just kumite. In real self-defense, if you ever had to kick somebody, why would you want your arms doing nothing out here with your whole body exposed? So it is true that in some instances, your body pulls a little bit. And there are pictures of masters with their arm, but that's because, again, they learned this way, I think. It's not an inherently necessary thing. So I'm trying to think, there's a couple other basics where I changed the concept, and I can't think of any right now. But when I teach, I know there's just a couple little things, so nothing major. I didn't say, well, we're not going to do rising blocks anymore because they're worthless. We're not going to do stances anymore. No, I do those more. I do more stances, more position, more understanding. I just tried to pick the ones that specifically make a bad habit. So that is your arms out to your side. Kicking sideways, we always learned it this way anyway, for side snaps and side thrusts, so I don't have a problem with that. In roundhouse kicks, which we'll do in a second, it's still the same idea. This arm is going to stay here as I roundhouse kick, so that if I need it, I can hit with it, block with it, punch with it. It should be part of your mass. I also do it with back thrust, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it. I teach kind of a one where my arm is across, and this is here like an augmented block almost, and it kind of goes 1, 2, because I want this to be here. And super common for people to start to leave it out, especially when you spin. So if you, I don't know what leg's better to show. Now I'm backwards. If I spin, I'm going to practice pulling my arms in, and if I have practiced this, there's a good chance that it'll show up. Why can't I get the right direction? It'll show up when I need it right here. There it is, because I need it for the punch or block or whatever. So when I'm training on my own, I pay attention to it all the time, because it gets to the point where, oh, that feels good. I can feel it, and it feels like, oh, that's sloppy. That's not helpful. So where it shows up in kata, I guess, sorry I'm babbling about this one a little bit, is if you do any of these side snaps in hand, knee dan, hand, yondan, kankudai, this should get tighter, not get looser when you kick and do this. So this tightness will help your spine start to stay straighter, and this tends to hollow you out and wreck your torso position. So there, I took way too long to answer that question.
Thank you.
Rob, was it you that had a question?
Yes, thanks, Sensei. Just was after if you've got any tips for us on how we can improve punching speed and kicking speed. Just a couple of tips on training tips on how we can improve the speed of punch and the speed of kick.
Yes, and it's twofold, I guess. One is tons and tons of slow and half-speed repetition. So, for instance, in a step and punch, so most people get a technique, like say a counter punch, pretty sharp. It's like, oh, I can do that. But then they do a step and punch, and it takes forever, you know, it takes 3 times as long. And so they assume a step and punch is not useful because it takes too long. And it turns out that if you start to streamline your body to where it maintains its position, the drive maintains, all the way through the action, it can get more and more precise. So without the deviation, without the up-down, it starts to go faster. Okay, so once you're in the groove, that helps. So the other thing has to do with eliminating time. And there are 2 visuals, or 2 images I have for that. One is, I don't think about, here I go, and then I get there. I think about be here, be here, be here, be here, be there, go, boom, just be there, and don't have any space in the middle. No matter how bad you think it is, no introspection, just be there. So something that helps that, you can go over here for a second, just as a target, put your left leg in front and there. This arm, if I wait and pull it at the end, now it's inherently a delayed action. If I pull it now, it makes me move faster. So if I find myself going slowly, I try to figure out why. What is holding me up? And if I can get to here sooner, I start to go quicker. So go, boom, pull it. Even if it's awkward timing. So you expect to go 1, 2 as an extreme. And this might be 1, oh, my foot's late. Well, speed your foot up. Don't slow down your technique of your hand. So imagine the center of your body still attacking. Go, boom, and pull it. And you'll get there sooner than you think. Kicks are this way too. Don't have a great example here. If you spend too much time on the coil, on the kick, it slows it down. And so what I did is I figured out this recoil. Squeeze, I want to get to there as soon as possible. So this is too slow. It just took too long. I have to go now, and get there. And it's hard when there's a person there, it distracts you. But get to the end as soon as you can. And it's similar in concept to the drawing arm. Squeeze, boom, and you'll get there quicker. I do better, of course, if I train more, if I'm in shape more, if I'm loosened up. And some people come by it very naturally. Some people are just quick twitch people. So I guess this is another observation is I think you're born with a certain range. So somebody else might be born with this range. They're quicker than you. They're sprinters. They're, faster no matter what you do. You can increase your speed within your range, and then it turns out your range is better than you thought it was, right? So don't limit yourself saying, well, I'm slow, unless you use it for motivation. So I spent a lot of my karate career thinking I'm slow, and I beat the guy next to me because I know I'm slow. So Sensei Saro used to line the group up, left leg forward, downward block. This is how we started, like every class. And people would go, as a group. I decided I'm going to beat this guy next to me. And I'd be there, and then the group would domino after me. And so I tried to do it every time. Not to show other people up, but to challenge myself to go a little quicker than what I thought I could. And so I had good results with that. But don't be disappointed when you find out somebody else is still way faster than you. Okay, everybody froze. Is that a problem?
Hi, Sensei.
Did you miss me?
We did. Discussion there.
All right, I don't know what happened. My whole computer and everything froze. But I'm glad that you're all still there. Maybe you got water. This was the official intermission. So I'm glad that you had a chance for a break. Are people, you can still see me? So one thing I thought of, John, can you use you for a second?
Yeah.
If, back up a little bit, right there, your target. Back in the day when I was competing, and back when you were younger, everything was better, I used to practice shifting 6 feet because people did not think that you could go 6 feet, about 2 meters. They didn't think you could shift that far, so I specifically worked at it. And the problem with it is it takes time. You go, boom, and it takes time to get there. And Sensei Nishiyama was the one who kept saying, just be there. Just don't think about starting. Don't think about launching your fist. Be there, be there, be there. So you can hear, back off, be there. Bah! And so it helped me in my drawing arm. Ready? Pull! Bah! And just be there as soon as you can. Don't have travel time, no matter how far you go. So I found that useful. All right, did anybody else have a question? Are you all bored now from sitting around while I wasn't here? Did you guys talk about me behind my back? All right, we will do another thing. The other thing is going to be roundhouse kicks. And you're going to do the same thing we did with the front kicks. So put your left leg in front. Try to pick your knee up. Roundhouse kick and step forward. 1. Roundhouse kick and step backwards. 2. Forward. 3. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 3. Shuffle back. Okay, so we already talked about most of this stuff. It's going to be the same, but I got to point out your arms. They don't do that. Leave your arm here. Just try this, everybody. Got your left arm in front. Move forward to here. So your weight's still on your left leg. And then go back. And then travel forward again. This is still here. And then go back. And then roundhouse kick. Boom. Try to leave this here. It just helps you stay oriented. Shuffle back so you can do your other foot. So now your right arm's going to stay. And you swing forward. 1. And go back. 2. And go back. 3. And go back. Shuffle back. Try this one more time. Left arm up. Twist forward. 1. Go back. So don't purposely move your arms. I still see a lot of people wiggling. No, there's no wiggle. This just stays here and your body moves around it. So in space, this arm stays and my body moves. Don't do that. Don't purposely go. Don't do that. Part of it has to do with controlling what you do. Part of it has to do with not making yourself a target. Part of it has to do with telegraphing. So if you go up, they know something's coming. And if you spar with somebody once or twice, they will just hit you. I know this from experience. So practice. A lot of what makes people seem really fast is a lack of a telegraph. They don't tell you what's coming. So they don't adjust their foot before they kick. They don't open their arms up before they just go. They're ready, like, oh, you're all right? Boom! And they'll launch it without any big telegraph. So it is a useful skill. Try again. Left arm, left leg out. Twist forward. 1. And come back. 2. And come back. 3. Kick. Sorry, that was a kick. Shuffle back. So now you get your right leg in front. So I still see some people not quite embracing this enough. It is like my arm is here and my body is going to fold into it. It stays there and your body folds. And remember that forward direction I told you about. Forward, in. There is not any, not at the beginning and not in the middle, where it pulls just in towards the target. Okay? Got your right leg in front. Roll in. 1. Come back. 2. Come back and then kick. 3. That was better. That was better. So that is a worthwhile thing to work on. I mentioned this before. Oh, when we were switching our feet. Oh, it's time to our switching our feet drill. We're going to have to do that. When you're doing that switching your feet drill, this doesn't move all over. It stays calm. And the calmer it stays, the more it allows you to move your legs and body quickly. So now that I am reminded that it's time for that drill, we'll come back to roundhouse kicks in just a second. Left leg forward, counter punch out. Pull your foot back, block counter. 1, block, counter. 2, block, counter. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, So please remember the arm that's out is the one that blocks, and your hand and feet match, 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 match. Twist your hip and keep forward pressure. So we broke all that down at the beginning. Some of you weren't here, some of you were, so try to remember. Here we go. 1, block, counter. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go a little quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. There's. Okay. Back to roundhouse kicks. Same drill as we did with the front kicks. Now you're going to hold the recoil. So left leg in front, arms up. Roundhouse kick, hold the recoil. 1, squeeze. 2, forward. 1, squeeze. Back. 2, that's 2. 1, forward. 2. Shuffle back. 1, hold. 2, down. 1, hold. 2, back. 1, hold. 2, forward. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Shuffle back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Shuffle back. High up for just a second. All right, so in the front kick, it was relatively easy to see that you get the pressure to go from here to here to here to the floor. And most of you did that to a certain extent. That's awesome. You also do that with the roundhouse kick, and it is a little more difficult because of the angles. But it will help to make sure you keep your knee up. So this, really hard to get really any feeling of pressure. Not impossible, there are many ways to do things, but while you're learning, I suggest you keep your knee up. And the sensation, keep going for a second, stand there and put out this hand. You're gonna hold my knee. Maybe that hand. Thanks. The sensation is that you're leaving it on here, a little lower, hold it, and I'm sinking this way, that pressure. So you're done. So it goes expand, contract, and then step forward on purpose. Again, don't fall. So anytime you release the contraction, don't just fall anywhere. Here we go, left leg in front. Squeeze into your back leg. 1, squeeze. 2, step forward. 1, squeeze. 2, step back. 1, squeeze. 2. Shuffle back. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Shuffle back. So another reason that you have that recoil, that compression, is to maintain your direction of where you're going and to establish a base to move from. So if I front kick and I fall, I'm going to fall into whatever oncoming technique is there. If I can get a good recoil, launch from here, go, boom, you can launch before your foot gets to the ground because you have a base and you'll have body mass behind it. So this is not just the same as putting your hand out. You didn't drive from your legs. And the roundhouse kick is similar. You want to build a base, and to me this feels kind of like a back stance, and then you drive it into the target. So this kokutsu feeling, I feel that here. Go! Whoa, it's got that same compression, the same backwards pressure. Does everybody kind of get the idea? All right, back to questions. Does anybody else have a question? Okay, no questions. Unless somebody wants to jump in. All right, we're going to work on back stances, since I mentioned them, and because that's what's next on my sheet. The kokutsudachi, or the back stance, as we do it in Shotokan, they say is 70-30 weight distribution, which is fine. It came from a couple different places. In kata, you were often in a short cat stance, a longer cat stance, or an Okinawan back stance, and they changed it to this or something similar. So we had 3 or 4, maybe 5 stances that were replaced with our regular back stance. And this happened to a lot of our kata that got, I say, homogenized, meaning they made it all the same to be consistent. But the biggest problem when people try to learn this is they let their weight settle too far forward, and then they don't have any pressure, so they try to fix it, and that's too late. So there is a subtlety to this movement of pulling from your drawing arm through your center down into your back leg. This will teach you to be stronger in a counterpunch and a front kick, that indirect pressure that settles into the floor, but you have to train it a while. So even if the back stance was worthless for any other reason, and it's not, I would study it for this compression idea. It's the difference, let's say in a counterpunch, of people going, and they just got their leg there, or they use their leg, this mass hits the target. It's two different things, and more mass is better when you hit things. More useful muscle drive. So anyway, we're going to do back stances in 2 counts. Let's start this way. We'll start slow. I noticed there are some beginners and some people from other styles, so we'll practice this way first. I want you to put your right leg straight to 90 degrees. This is my left. And your left leg in front. So you're going to drop straight down and put your foot out. That's 1. Then put your foot back. Now I'm going to do this sideways. So this is 90, your heel is in front of your heel. Step out and bend. 2, down, back, 3, back, 4, back, 5. Switch feet to the other side. So you got your left foot pointing to the side, your right foot pointing straight ahead, 90 degrees. 1, step out, back, 2, back, 3, back, 4, back, 5, back. Switch feet. Now you're going to do your arms at the same time. So you got your feet this way, you got your arms this way. Your right arm is extended out with your palm down. Your left arm is up by your shoulder or your cheek or your ear or wherever you want to put it. Try to keep your elbow down though. Don't put your elbow up here. Keep your elbow down. So your elbows would be very close together. You're going to use your drawing arm to pull down through your center and increase the pressure to your right leg, and just put your left hand and left leg out. 1, and then draw back. 2, and then draw back. 3, and then draw back. 4, and then draw back. 5, and then draw back. Switch, go to the other foot. 1, pull down into your support leg. Draw back, 2, draw back, 3, draw back, 4, draw back, 5, draw back. Okay. Moving forward in 2 counts. We'll do the same pattern, forward, back, forward. So you got your left leg in front, left leg in front on the mirror. You're going to pull halfway through this way. So at this point, your knees are squeezing together, your elbows are together. Oh, so somebody earlier asked about things that I've changed in basics, and this is a thing. When I learned this, we went 1, we stopped with both our feet together, and then we went 2. And the problem for beginners and me was that you get this far and then you forget what foot's supposed to move. You just totally lose it, right? So I changed that. There's also, the second problem is people get this far and they take a break. And then they step out and they do the next thing. So this is true. I learned rising blocks this way. 1, 2. There's a break time in the middle. No break. So I glide through that position to in a kind of a cat stance where your knee pressure is in if I was doing a rising block. And that's where I hold. I still have my forward direction and then I still drive to finish my action. And in this case, for the back stance, you're going to go to a cat stance where both your knees and your elbows are in, and then you're going to pull down and your knee legs go out. So try not to stop here, your butt's out. Try not to feel like you go up and then, oh, I have to drop again. That's a structural problem in transition. You're just going to go 2/3 of the way out, 3/4 of the way out, and then finish. Actually, this leg goes out as far as it can without disrupting my hip or my knee. So if I reach out further with this foot, this happens. My hip is now halfway out. I want it to be straight still. Then you pivot on purpose when you block. 2 counts, left leg forward, squeeze your elbows and knees in. 1, cat stance kinda, and then finish your block, 2. Then go backwards. 1, I do the same thing, I reach way back like this. 2, 1, forward to here, 2, shuffle back so you switch your feet. 1, squeeze, 2, 1, reach, 2, 1, reach, 2. Okay, so part of the problem when people do a knife hand block moving forward is they twist their hip first and then they do their hands. Then there's nothing left over. And people do this all the time without realizing it when they go in 1 count. It's just way, your body and hand isn't properly coordinated. So what you want to do is build a base and then drive on purpose. So when you go in 1 count, squeeze, go. There's a shock on the inside at the moment you need it. Right now it matches exactly. It might be sooner, it might be later, depending on what you have to block and what your personal timing is. So without the forward, backward, forwards thing, because I think that confuses us, we're just going to do 2 steps forward, then we'll shuffle back, then we'll do 2 steps forward again. So start with your left leg forward, knife hand block. Squeeze together and hold. 1, kind of a cat stance. Drop, drop, drop. 2, 1, squeeze together and hold. 2. Now you can shuffle back. 1, 2, 1, 2. Doesn't matter. You can step back if you want. 1, 2, same thing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Shuffle back. 1, squeeze together. 2. More back stance, Rob White. 1, 2. Hi, mate. Up for a second. So here's 2 things I see. The first one has to do with your drawing arm shoulder. And it's the same problem that I have when you punch. You don't want this to go to the back half of your body. And I know a lot of people teach that. I don't think it's right. I think you want the front half of your body to take the shot, and you need this to be a stable frame. So when you do the knife hand blocks, you're trying to twist, and some of you are pulling the shoulder out of position. It stays on the front half of your body, in front of your ear, in forward of your ear. I like if you take this forearm and wrap it into your solar plexus, way up here. I find that to be more useful for people. Sometimes people get lazy, and that's their drawing arm for most stuff, so that's the drawing arm for their knife hand block. I would rather have it be way, way up here, and if you want to do something else with it later, that's fine. But this creates less flopping around of your arms. 1, 2, 1, 2. It just squeezes in and pulls. And I find that really helps your body pull together. So for useful reasons to do that, you go up here for a second. Maybe I'll show this side. He grabs with this hand, does a punch with this hand. I'm going to block it, obviously, because I don't want to get hit, but he gave me this hand. It's a gift. Squeeze it into here so you can keep it. That is this position, right? And if you wanted to, you'd stop the arm and chop him in the neck, or come across his face and chop him, but I get to keep this. It's mine. And if you turn a little bit, it disrupts his structure completely. So the beginning of Kankudai, for instance, whap, whap, you're pinning that arm in place. And there's specifically pressure points, nerves that you kick along here, your radial nerve right there disrupts him. You're hitting that with the bone of your forearm and stretching it, that little pull. So anyway, that's why I want you to do like this. That was one thing. One thing was this arm and shoulder. The second one is your hip position. You can go back, thanks. Super common. People do a knife hand block and their hip tips up this way. I have this problem. Partially it's from an injury, partially it's we always, in our system of Shotokan, you push forward, forward, forward all the time, forward, forward, and then you take away the back leg, and you don't feel that, so you go like that to try to feel the forward pressure. Also a big problem in Kibadachi. So people have, oh, forward drive, excellent. Oh, I don't feel it. That's too much. This has to stay straight, and you have to feel this forward pressure. So it will help if you orient with these creases in your hips. If this crease goes away, that's a problem. If this crease goes away, that's a problem. If they both go away, you'll probably hurt your hips because it hurts mine. Keep them bent and soft. And it is very complicated to understand that your center squeezes and your legs squeeze and your hip joints themselves stay soft and pliable. One thing that helped me for this orientation, besides this part that I told you about, is when I get to here, when I think I'm lifting up, I imagine this sit bone dropping towards that heel. So maybe I'm a little off here. When I step out, I drop it back where it goes. And then ideally, all the way through the motion, you would keep this pressure so that there is not an up-down to any of your action. This is stable. So something that, again, Sensei Nishiyama used to demonstrate and teach all the time, is your torso should stay centered, your center controls, and it doesn't matter what your feet do. You want them to be able to go wherever they go. And that is actually a very useful thing to be able to do. So on a different day, he had many exercises about moving, some of which help more than others. But it is kind of a personal struggle or a personal exploration to figure out how to keep stable as you move through stuff. So anyway, a few more knife hand blocks. Here we go. Step forward. 1. See if you can drop your hip, sit bone down to your heel. 2. And shuffle back. 1, 2. Shuffle back. 1, 2. It's coming. So for some of you, more advanced practitioners, I want to pick on for a second, you have a bounce in your technique. So you're going, boom, boom. That bounce up doesn't belong there. Only the down pressure. Whoa! Not down up. 2 things cause that. One is extra tension, especially towards your joints. So where I can use this example, I think, is in a step and punch. Some people, when they do an oizuki, they use their front leg as a brake. It stops them from going anywhere. And if you made this just a little softer so that it could float forward, the sensation should be more like a shock absorber. Whoa. Whoa. It helps you drive into the target. It doesn't stop and hold you back. The back stance is very much like that. You want this to be a steady compression throughout the motion. And it is soft and settling, although strong, but some of you tense, and then it bounces back up because it's got no place to go. Your knees and your hips are too tight, maybe your ankles, but your knees and your hips are a primary thing you can control. So, softer as you step forward. We're going to do just 2 more, and then we're going to start adding the kicks back in. So, step forward, knife hand block. 1, 2, shuffle back. 1, 2, good job. Any questions before I move on to the next part? And again, these can be kind of application questions, technique questions, anything you want them to be. So there's a person. Some people are not there right now. Yanny Man 1, 2, 3. Who is that? What's your name? Oh, you have to take the mute off. Click, mute.
My name is Yanta.
It's what?
Yanta.
Yanta? And where are you from?
I'm from Mountain
Where do you live now?
in the UK.
Oh, cool. Well, you're doing a great job. I'm glad that you made it on. That's awesome. Okay. All right. Back to training. Anybody have a question? No. All right. So, as frustrating as this can be to get your hip level, I found a way to make it worse. 2 ways. And this is the first way. You're going to combine the kicking drill that we did, like the front kick, with the recoil. You're going to go 1, squeeze, and then 2, knife hand block. And most people, when you do a front kick, your hip is a little bit unlevel and a little bit extended. Not that it should be, I'm just saying that's the way most people kick. This hip is a little bit off. So no matter how off this is, by the time you get back to here, you have to make yourself straight again. So that's the whole training thing. Okay, so 2 counts. Starting the back stance. You're going to front snap kick with your back leg and hold the recoil. 1, hold. 2, down. And you can shuffle back if you need to. 1, hold. 2, down. Shuffle back. 1, hold. 2, Shuffle back. 1, hold. 2, down. 1, oh, shuffle back, sorry. 1, hold. 2, down. And up for a second. Okay, so here is a problem. After you do the front kick, I want you to make sure you get the pressure from your leg into your inner thigh, into your back foot this way. Now, you're relatively in line. You have to increase this pressure down as you do a knife hand block. But some of you are falling and there is no increase in pressure. And also, just like we did 1, 2, we went 1, in, 2, out. That's in there. 1, squeeze, 2, out. Your body has to shock for the technique. And a portion of you are just falling when you do the block, which I'm finding disappointing because we went so much time on it already. So I'm sure it'll get better. Here we go. Left leg in front, knife hand block. 1, squeeze, 2. Shuffle back if you need to. 1, squeeze, shock your hip. 2. Shuffle back. 1, squeeze, shock. Shuffle back. 1, squeeze, 2. Shuffle back. 1, squeeze, 2. I see a lot better effort there, people. That's good. Shuffle back. 1, squeeze, 2. All right, again, just for the more advanced practitioners, almost all of you guys are doing some part of this. You are getting a good recoil, you're getting your hip to twist, but are you really increasing the pressure down at the moment your hand hits? Because that's what I kind of see a lack of. Can I have your hand here for a second? Left hand out, left foot forward. Block fist. If I'm blocking this, it's not this part that does the work, it's this part. Shock. It creates a lot of shock. This squeezes, down, down, shock. And if you can transfer it through the guy very effectively, and if you lose that little bit of base, you just have less to hit with. There's less center attacking the target. So, same drill. Please try to actually increase the pressure down. Use your drawing arm. Pull down into your back leg. Okay, here we go. Left leg forward. Front snap kick, hold the recoil. 1, 2, shock. Shuffle back. 1, 2, pull down into your back leg. That's better. Shuffle back. Try a 1 count. 1, kick, block. Shuffle back. 2, kick, block. Shuffle back. 3, kick, block. Shuffle back. 4, kick, block. Almost everybody, much, much better. Good job. Again, being picky, you're trying so hard to make pressure down that it's deforming your chest. So you're going 1, 2. That's not the right thing. You need your center down into your legs. On a different day, again, with a different training method, I've described it. You can have tension in your legs and have them be empty. So can you come over here for a second? Push me, hand on my hip. You have to move your foot for a second and step that way. If he pushes me harder, I don't have a base to move from, right? I can try harder by squeezing and I don't have the structure to hold. And this sensation is like you're going to drop sand down through your center. Oh. So in an earlier video, I had the pancake thing. I don't know if you were there. You have a stack of 12 pancakes. You put syrup on them. You're going to squeeze the pancakes, and the syrup runs down into your legs. So that's kind of a basic idea. And this is like part 2 of that, is your legs are hollow, and you're going to fill them with, say, sand. You let it drop down into your legs, a little bit of pressure, and he can apply more and more and more pressure, and I apply more. And then if I decide to step, I just have this pressure going out into my legs. Not the same, keep pushing once, as me just pushing. That hurts my hips and my knees when you tighten. So it's a feeling of settling, of letting your leg fill out, and that feeling is both on this recoil and more here. It fills to the position that you want it to be and settles. So some of you are trying, but you're doing your chest isn't helping you at all. Keep your spine straight, keep your head straight, and try to let the pressure settle down into your legs. A couple more times, and then we'll do something worse. Front, snap, kick, knife hand block, 1 count. 1, squeeze, pull down, shuffle back. 2, squeeze, pull down, shuffle back. 3, squeeze, pull down, shuffle back. 4, squeeze, pull down. All right. One more thing about that, and this is true of many stances. One side benefit of studying stances, people think it's to be strong in place, and that's not it. It's about how do you use your legs, how do you move, how do you direct energy towards the target, and eventually it won't matter as much whether your feet are down or not. You'll still have the shot going through your bones to the target. But a thing to check on is your back foot. If you feel like the weight comes off your foot and then goes back, off, back, that's too much. Even so, I over-exaggerated, but I can see some of you, when you move just a little bit, it went up, and it settled. Try to directly push down into that foot, and it'll do interesting things when you hit things. The only thing I have to say about stuff like that is if you do have a partner someday in the far future when we're allowed to see other people, be very careful. Can you stand here for a second? Because you think you've been training and you're going 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's no big deal. And the one time you drop and let the energy flow, it'll penetrate so much more than you think. And it'll be like, well, pop, and I had this experience. He was kicking. I went 1, 2, because that's what Sensei Nishiyama was teaching. Squeeze, drop, pop, boom. Squeeze, drop, pop, boom. And he kept wanting us to get closer, closer, closer. And I started thinking, I've got like an inch. I'm not going to hurt anybody with this tiny little stance. And the guy kicked, and I went, boom, boom, and he dropped on the ground. And I was like, oh my God, you okay? Because I didn't mean to hurt him. But that's quite often, if you pay attention to all the little things in karate, they become big things. And you get harder hits than you realize with way less effort. Okay, roundhouse kicks. Same thing. You got your left leg in front in a back stance. This is an excellent place to practice roundhouse kicks because this is a good coiling position. Both your hips are bent. You're going to do a roundhouse kick and hold the recoil, so that's going to be 1. And now your hip for sure is messed up. It's sideways, it's out of alignment. You have to put it back 2 for your knife hand block and keep the weight on your back foot. So here we go. Left leg in front. Roundhouse kick and hold the recoil. 1, roundhouse. 2, knife hand block back stance. Shuffle back. 1, 2. Shuffle back. 1, 2. Shuffle back. 1, 2. Shuffle back. That was an excellent try, Dan Young. Good job. 1, 2. Shuffle back. 1, 2. Shuffle back. Rachel, make sure you take the time to pick your leg up sideways and kick sideways. It's a little bit too much up and down. Sideways. 1, 2. Shuffle back. 1, 2. Excellent. Okay, here's the next part. You get to put these together. You're going to start here in your back stance. You do a front kick with your front leg, hold the recoil and the knife hand block. So you're going to go 1, squeeze, 2. Then you do the roundhouse kick. 1, squeeze, 2. And we just do that over and over until it's perfect. Left leg forward, back stance. From here, tilt your hip and lightly kick. Don't worry about kicking hard, but make the pressure back into your support leg. 1, squeeze, 2. Roundhouse kick. 1, 2. Shuffle back. Front leg front kick. 1, 2. 1, 2. Shuffle back. Front leg front kick. 1, 2. Roundhouse kick. 1, 2. Shuffle back. 1, 2. 1, 2. Shuffle back. 1, 2. 1, 2. Shuffle back. One more time. 1, 2. 1, 2. High up for a second, high rest. So this is one of my more favorite drills because it teaches me so many things. So I made this up for myself like I did with most drills. In the front kick, you're going to stay in a good back stance and learn to leverage with this leg bent and sideways. Don't try to collapse your knee in and kick. It's not that kind of thing. Just, it goes 1, 2. You might have basics like that in your Kihon test. You have to learn to kick with your leg sideways. While your leg is sideways, you have to figure out where the middle of your body is and the middle of your thigh is, so that when you kick, it comes through center and not slightly up. That's not right. You can feel when it's off. So this type of motion, down, up, teaches you to be more centered with everything kind of crooked. The same thing is true with the roundhouse kick. So maybe you do fine here, no big deal, and now you roundhouse kick, and you're like off balance, you're center. You got to figure out how to pull this back together through your center so that after this, you can drive and again, have good alignment. So I like it because it's a little difficult, but it's relatively obvious when you're doing good or bad, you can feel it. So try it again. Left leg forward, 1 count, front snap kick, knife hand block. 1, snap, block, roundhouse kick, 2, roundhouse kick, down, shuffle back. 1, 2, shuffle back. 1, try what I was doing, 2, shuffle back. 1, kick, block, 2, back, 1 count, all the way through. 1, kick, block, kick, block. Back, 2, kick, block, kick, block. Shuffle back. 3, shuffle back. 4. Good job. High back. High up. Okay, any more questions about that or anything else? All right, let's do a few kata. We'll start simple with hand shodan. Double step wherever you need to. In the first 5 moves, 6 moves, you don't go anywhere. You stay where you are and you reach out. So most of you have that much room, but you'll figure it out. So feet together, hand shodan.
Shodan.
Boy. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, back stance, our favorite. 2, again, use your legs. 3, 4. High rest. So we don't have time today, and it would get monotonous if we did, but if you look back at some of the videos on my YouTube channel, there is some where it mentions the 8-count drill. And the 8-count drill is practicing making shock in a back stance over and over again. Happens to take 8 counts. It's a brilliant name, I know. But if you look that up, that would be good. When we're stepping and you have to shift feet, what I want you to again do is avoid losing your drive, your direction, and taking a break. So if I'm here and I have to switch feet, you don't stand up and then go step. You pull this foot back in such a way that it's driving forward already. So maybe I'm here, and it doesn't matter if you pull it a half step or all the way back, it launches you forward. This, what is it? This drives down into the ground and your center stays down. So please don't pick this up and don't stand up in between and don't mentally quit. Down, down. It stays forward as you go. So try hand shodan again. Out. Kata. Boy. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 1, 2, 3. Knife hand blocks. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so now I got to watch everybody. If you remember at the beginning of the training for everybody that was here, quit doing that, you're bugging me. I know, I'm sorry. Put this on you again. We talked about wanting to use your legs. Just stand up. to hit the target. So this vibration isn't just me wiggling and putting my hand out. It's actually trying to figure out a way for my legs to hit the target. So when some of you are here, you're doing a step and punch, and you wiggle your hips, but it doesn't help you hit the target. So there's at least 2 ways, there's probably a dozen, to look at how you train this differently. It is true that there is a sensation from your center, driving almost one, that's true. That happens, that you have that drive into the target. And that might start to look like your hips are wiggling a little bit. But all I want you to do is make sure that that wiggle actually helps you generate energy into the target. And so what I often teach is you do 3/4 of the way through the step. Look, I teach lots of stuff that way. Then I want you to push your opposite hip, my right hip in this case, forward as I punch. And it doesn't make logical sense at first, but that training is to try to get your body to come together at the point of impact. And between the two ideas, between the idea that your hip is throwing the punch out and this hip is driving forward to hit, there is some vibration going on the inside more than the outside. So moving your hips a lot doesn't help, I don't think. Being a little more precise with how you hit, I think helps more. Drive, drive, drive. And it doesn't matter, it does in the kata, but in many cases, it doesn't matter if your hips are straight or sideways. The vibration, the shock, the muscle action is much the same. So some of you need to vibrate less, or at least do things that help shock in the direction you're going to go. So the other way I saw it, so here's 2 things that are important in Shotokan in general, is the blocks, your hips should be sideways, 45, whatever you want to think of them as, and on the punches, your hips should be straight, right? So please don't turn and have your hips this way, and then step and have your hips this way, because that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. But some of you are trying to incorporate your legs, and perhaps you were taught this way, and what it works out is you overturn, and then you try to shock back. Not ideal. On the inside, you definitely squeeze, and it definitely goes that way, but you don't physically turn this way and then go this way, in most cases. It depends on your application too. But I also saw that in the knife hand blocks. If you are here, you don't rotate past where you're supposed to go and then shock back that way. This rotation happens to be a same way your hands and foot move. And as you do that, it wraps around your leg. So you squeeze, shock, there is that action. You just don't actually move this way and then this way. On the next one you do, kinda, because you squeeze together and then you twist. This one's like the first one. You wrap towards the target, and this one's opposite. So where I come from, a basic knife hand block had what we called opposite rotation. My hip was going this way, my hand was going this way. Right? Basic downward block, opposite rotation. Basic inside block, opposite rotation. Rising block, same way rotation. Outside block, so to same way rotation. It turns out that the distinction is not as clear as you first think it is. It's just a convenient way to train. But especially in Heian Shodan, there's not a lot of basic actions. So this is not a basic downward block. This way, this way. It's more like I'm going this way, and I have to figure out how to make the shock as I go in. The same is true here. This is a same way rotation block. My hip is moving this way, my hand is moving this way, but don't let your hip turn past where it's supposed to be. And you'll start to see some vibration in there as you start to hit the right position, because it works. But specifically when you get to the knife hand blocks, here you have same way rotation, not basic. Opposite rotation, basic. Same way rotation, not basic. Basic block. So if you feel your legs in center initiating each one, it will help. Does that make sense to people? Sometimes, so in the UK, you have Sensei Kawazoi, who I have trained with a few times. But before I trained with him, he made a big difference in my karate. And that was because I was spending so much time thinking, okay, here I got center, I got my strong legs, I got my body straight, I have to coil my arms in, I got to squeeze my legs, I have to shock in this direction, I have to pull my arms, and everything was so complicated. And the harder I tried, the worse it got. And there is a video from 30, 40 years ago that Kawazoi put out, and he might be doing Tendokata. I thought he was doing Hand Shodan in my memory, but anyway, it's block, punch, block, punch. And he basically stands here and goes, 1, and I was like, that looks so easy. 2, why did I make that so hard? It just is easy. And that was a breakthrough that has continued through my karate development. A good karate technique is very simple. Not like it's easy to do, but it's not complicated, right? So a knife hand block should basically go, pa! It's a simple motion. And if you find yourself going, that's not it. That's not where you want to go. So I have found that in many things, what can I kind of take away from it to make it work better? Especially on turns. So turns are a problem. People stick their butt out, their head out, they try to get a base. And if you can just stay straight up and down and spin, life gets way easier and your body ends up where it's supposed to go. So earlier somebody asked somebody a question about going quicker. That is the part where you try to understand the end and practice it enough that the transition in between is smooth, and then just start skipping the middle part. Just get to the end as quick as you can, and that helps. Any questions? We're going to do our final drill here. Okay, here we go. Left leg forward, right hand out. So on the mirror. 5 times, you're going to do the block, counter, block, counter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gotta say, that's looking much better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now all of you think, oh, I'm doing really good, right? Here comes the hard part. Now you have to count to 5. I count once, and you have to do it 5 times. This is way harder than you think. Ready? 1. Kinda. 2. 3. 'Don't you hate it when you have to guess about when that 5th one is? 4. Okay, just a couple times here. We're going to go as fast as you possibly can. Right? So you have to go faster than me, faster than John, faster than the person next to you if there's a person there. Ready? You got to count to 5 though. You can count whatever you want. Oh, please. You can't hop up and down and move your feet. You have to do the real drill. I'll go a little slower. Better. On. Faster. Oh! All right, that's enough. Thank you. Well, I think you all did awesome. Any questions before we go? All righty. I hope that you all have a good new year. Oh, somebody made a noise. No? All right, that was John. All right, so best of the new year. This is the official end of our training session. Thank you. If anybody wants to stay and talk or have a question, you sure can.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. It's awesome to see you all come.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.